msee ameachilia. Ni wazimu tu. Kiwazimu hivi.
Okay, msee amechizi. Hayuko poa upstairs. Yaani akona kasoro fulani. Kichwa yake haifunction ka venye normal person anafaa kufunction. Akona tu kasoro hapa juu.
Mse mental ni mse mi ufikiria like ni mtu akili yake haifunction normal na wengine. Like as in behavior zake si kama za watu wengine. Wewe ufanya vitu abnormal.
Sasa ina depend na unajua kuna wale tumse tumeachilia kiasi, then kuna wale imekuwa extreme.
Mimi naweza cause okay, easy kupenda kuwa mentor. Maybe it's from an experience ndio msee alipitia ama kitu kaa hiyo. So si kupenda kwa huyu msee. It's just comes. Now I say they are not bad. Wakichokozwa tu ndio atachukua jiwe ya kugonge or something. Otherwise these people ukirelate nao ni wasee poa sana.
Welcome to Pod Connect channel. My name is Juliet Karanja. Glad that you joined us. We are continuing our series where we talk about mental health. Why do you need to understand about mental health? And we had our first part when we talked about misconceptions about mental health and some of the labels that we have given those who are our loved ones and significant others. And we went further and talked about how mental health is defined, what it means to have mental health, and how does that in turn affect our everyday life. And today we want to continue in that particular program, in our program, to talk about more about then what should I do? I'm experiencing feelings of sadness, anger, frustration. I'm oscillating towards on the continuum. I'm gravitating towards mental disorders. I want to move up the continuum and get back to a positive state, to get to a positive, healthy mental state. How do I move up the ladder? How do I climb the stairs and come out of this mind, of this maze of feelings of frustrations and anger and bitterness and all these emotions that sometimes we feel for even no good reason. Sometimes you cannot explain why you feel them. But they are emotions. As we said in our last segment, that they are normal emotions. But they become a red flag when these emotions begin to affect our everyday life. And we are not able to function. We're not able to be productive. And we are not able to do whatever it is that we need to do. And so in this program, we're going to be talking, what then are mental disorders? I think many of us have, a bit of information about, what are some of the mental disorders. And I know we can, name a few, even 5 at the top of our head. We're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder. These are traumatic disorders, where you're experiencing mostly, it's associated with veterans who've been in war. We're talking about social phobias, fear of being in public spaces, fear of being around people. We're talking about schizophrenia. We're talking about bipolar disorders. We're talking about depression. We've heard about depression. We've heard a lot about depression. We talk about bipolar. We're talking about the postnatal disorder, feelings of depression after birth. We're talking about eating disorders. You have a very poor relationship with food. Either you have, positive, you overeat, or, you undereat. All these are very conflicted relationships with food. Those are eating disorders. We're talking about, sleep disorders and disturbed sleep patterns, obsessive compulsive disorder. That's a disorder where you have over preoccupations with particular behaviors. You cannot be able to focus until you continually and perpetually engage in such behavior. It's a compulsive. You have no control. And yet we can talk about personality disorder, narcissism. You need to be in charge all the time. You need to be the one to talk about everything all the time. You have aggrandized preoccupation about yourself, about your own identity, what your abilities are, not what your abilities aren't. And these are personality disorders. All these are quite, in a nutshell, a few of some of the mental disorders that we have encountered. Maybe you have a friend, you have a relation, you have a family, you have a colleague that you have, probably engaged with that has had such a challenge, or probably you have also had an encounter with some of these disorders. You probably have been diagnosed. All these are mental disorders that can be very debilitating. And so what's the most important thing that we need to know about these disorders as we look about, when we are moving away from positive mental states to disorders? We have to realize that when they begin to affect us, and if they go untreated, that's the key word there. If they go untreated, you're starting to feel those emotions and frustrations and feelings. You're feeling sad. It's okay to feel sad, but sadness has gone on for too long and has begun to affect you. You can't be able to go to school. You can't be able to work. You can't be productive. Unchecked, they can become very debilitating. And I think that they actually move towards, or they evolve to become very chronic, and they become long-lasting. They last for longer periods of time. You feel sad for a week, and now you feel sad for months. You feel depressed. We all always sometimes feel a little bit of depression when we're frustrated and we have gone through a traumatic event. But these particular feelings have been long-lasting, chronic, long-lasting, and they begin to be associated with an ability and a disability. An inability to function, and with disability to be able to have a normal functioning of daily routines and daily life. And so what are some of those effects when you continually have this chronic, long-lasting, debilitating associated with disability feelings? They begin to affect and impact, and they impede your daily functioning. You cannot be able to work well, you cannot concentrate. Some have lost their jobs, some have lost their homes, and you start becoming, to interfere with your family, to interfere with your social interactions, your social relationships, your relationship with your children. Feelings of uncertainty. You become so uncertain, you become overly fearful. Those have been associated to begin to start to impede your relationship with your wife, with your children, and with your relations. And so that is a red flag, and that's where we need to be very careful, because mental disorder could literally become mental and severe cases of mental disorders. We need to be very careful about, gravitating towards the tier end, the end towards this continuum where we have mental disorders. And one of the things that we need to know is, what are some of the factors that can cause you to have these feelings? How do I explain? What can explain how I feel? It could be, your upbringing. Some of us, could probably talk about and remember some, never really resolved some of the things that we've gone through in our childhood. And so some of those traumas could be able to, spur and trigger feelings of anxiety, feelings of depression, feelings of sadness, and feelings of inadequacy. All these are feelings that can be from our upbringing. They spring from upbringing. And, circumstances and daily circumstances that we are all going through. And especially in this season where we have, job losses, we have all sorts of losses. We've lost our loved ones, we've lost jobs, we've lost relations, we've lost property, we've lost money, we've lost our dignity, we've lost our sense of hope. All these are daily stressors, and that can be factors that influence and contribute to be having all these feelings. And so some of the symptoms of mental health disorders, there are quite a number, and I'm going to be talking just about, the majorly feelings of the major symptoms. We talk about feeling sad, feeling down, confused. You're feeling, you feel the ability to concentrate has gone, has left. You are lethargic. You become excessively, fearful. You're detached, you're withdrawn, you become, you have no more sex drive, you have eating issues, you have, you don't want to eat anymore, or you overly are eating, you're feeling thoughts of depression, anger, and hostility, and violence. You're also feeling, suicidal. You're thinking, I'm better off, not just being around. You're having trouble understanding and relating with other people. You have significant tiredness and apathy and lethargy, and you're feeling mood changes. All these excessive worries and confusion are in a nutshell, some of the feelings that we can and the symptoms that could really be indicative of some of the mental disorders. And so why should we be able to, one of the things that we should be able to know is that these symptoms, especially if you have more than 4 of these symptoms, and over a long period of time, you really need to pay attention and seek help. So who can be affected? We all have a mental state. It is how we oscillate in that particular continuum, how we are aware about which particular, how we are oscillating on that particular continuum. Are you on a positive mental state? Are you gravitating towards a negative mental state? How then do we move out of that particular negative mental state and move up the case and move up the continuum to positive mental states? You're not talking about then if I can be able to get a mental disorder, depending on how I'm oscillating on the mental on this particular continuum, then does it mean that I'm equally able to have a positive mental state? I'm equally predisposed to have a negative mental state? Yes, we all can be affected by mental disorders. It is undiscriminate. It does not discriminate against gender. It doesn't discriminate about social status. It's not about cultural identity. It's not about ethnicity. It's not about age. It's not about religion. All these mental disorders does not discriminate. It is very important for us to recognize that we all can be affected by mental health disorders. And so it's very important to understand where we are at on the continuum of mental state, which is a positive mental state to the higher end, and a poor mental state on the other hand, which leads to mental disorders. But we are able to be aware and understand and be able to move towards positive mental state. So it was nice, and I was glad to have you on our channel. And please connect to us and understand, therefore, what do I do? Is there hope for mental health? Thank you.